and welcome to the X Life Podcast. My name is Christine, and this podcast is where we talk all things love, health, friendship, fun, and personal growth because life is too short to be unhappy. This episode is where we get to talk about how and why friendships could get awkward during your divorce. We're going to talk about some of the sticky situations that come up when dealing with your old friends, because there might be some you want to keep and others you might be happy to say goodbye to. And then there are also many opportunities to make new friends. Both groups are equally important and they need to be navigated in an intentional way. Let's talk all things friends so you can feel calm and confident knowing that you don't have to cling to your old friends because you can make new ones. Let's dig in. When I was getting divorced, I definitely felt a different kind of loneliness when I was around my friends. Because I was now a me instead of a we, the dynamic changed quite a bit. To my very closest friends who'd been by my side for years, they were amazing and were just there for whatever I needed. To talk or a night out to forget my feelings for a while. To others, there was a shift in how they treated me. There was an all-around feeling of unease. And for sure, those in happier relationships couldn't necessarily relate to me as much now that my other half was gone. They didn't seem to know what I needed or what to say. There were our couple friends who felt like they now had to pick a side, and inevitably it seems as though the person they were friends with won their friendship after the breakup, which was really hurtful. Then you feel the judgment, whether real or not. Some of your friends' boyfriends or husbands may now view you as a threat. Someone who, because you're now single, you're going to lure all the single men over and it's going to jeopardize their relationship because they're going to come on to their women. I somehow in this situation became a bad influence and they didn't want their friend to hang around me anymore because I was no longer safe. I was no longer in a relationship. And it was like being viewed as a hoe now that I was single. And it was something contagious that they could catch from me, which is ridiculous. There were also times when I felt like a third wheel, which at the time I was not feeling my most confident, and any affection or connection between my couple friends brought on all kinds of emotions and reminded me of happier days with my ex. I also experienced like a wariness from girls that were more social friends, and they didn't know me very well, but they now seem to think I was going to go after their man. And lastly, there were some well-meaning friends that felt the need to update me on everything my ex was doing, what they saw, what they've heard, any rumors, social media posts. It was awful. I did not need that. For all those reasons, and probably more that aren't coming to me right now, I felt uncomfortable around a lot of people post-breakup. And I get it. It didn't seem as though people knew what to say. And, that made sense. When I went out, I kind of felt people didn't really know what to talk about. And I kind of felt pitied in a way. But I did know that most people were concerned. And they were just asking how I was to be supportive. So what do we do? First, if hanging out with anyone right now makes you uncomfortable, it might be time to just take a break. Sometimes I just didn't want to be in situations that made me feel lonelier than I already felt being newly single. Now, with your close friends, you probably want their support. I had to actually just come right out and tell them what I needed, which could change hour by hour, day by day, week by week. If your friends are checking in with you too often, just tell them that. And Tell them how they can check in on you. Like, do you want contact via phone or text? Or do you want something more personal, like a voice memo or even FaceTime, where you feel more connected to that friend, especially if you don't feel like going out right now? And you may also want to just hear what's going on in their life. Like, what's going on in your friend group? What's the gossip? What's the latest with the reality show you guys are both binging? Sometimes you just don't want to talk about it all the time. But if you do, just let them know if you just want them to listen. If you just want them to listen without judgment and not trying to like fix the situation. A good friend really just wants to be there for you any way they can. And once you set those boundaries, both sides should feel a lot more comfortable moving forward. Now, you may also be interested in meeting new friends because your old friend group and social circle remind you of your ex, or you just want to start fresh with different friends to go along with your new life. Meeting friends with whom you have no history and don't know your ex, along with meeting those with similar mindsets, may be more aligned with the growth you're experiencing right now. But even if you find that somewhat exciting, you still might be feeling some fear or hesitation. Maybe you're shy or more introverted like me, and you typically only let your guard down around those you know well. You may worry about being liked or feel uncomfortable doing things on your own, maybe even for the first time. Entering a new friend group may have you feeling like a newbie because you're not yet part of the crowd. It's totally understandable and normal to have all these feelings and more. Stepping out of your comfort zone can be difficult and scary. I found it hard to transition from being part of a couple to being alone, but I also didn't want to become a hermit either. I mean, wallowing in grief or even pity is okay for a while, but then it felt good to shake it off and get out for some fun and be around people. I tried to remember that there was always a first time when I tried anything new. Thinking back to those firsts, I recalled that while there was some initial discomfort, I was able to overcome that, and there was something really positive on the other side. So how do you even find like-minded people with similar interests who are not coupled up? Let me share with you what worked for me. First, think about all the things that you wanted to try or new interests now that it's just you. What activities or hobbies did you used to love that got put to the side for your married life? Or, if you have no clue because you've completely forgotten who you are, the activities you love, and maybe because you did a lot of compromising in your last relationship, go back and watch the video, Excited for Your Divorce, Is That Okay?, where we talk all about that. Okay, so you know what you want your new life to look like, but you don't know where to start. So you can start slow. I mean, just try dipping your toe in the water by joining Facebook groups or Insta accounts that center around people with similar interests, or even those going through a breakup like yourself, that can provide you with a sense of community and help you feel less alone. Certainly at the time, I felt like I was the only person in my friend group going through a breakup. Don't be afraid to read through and even comment on other people's posts, stories, conversations, or comments. I'm betting you will feel less alone and find kindred spirits to commiserate and bond with you and actually get you. Consider messaging anyone that you feel connection with from their posts or comments. You'll get a feeling in your gut like, wow, they seem like someone I could be friends with. I typically have just said something like, hey, that looks good. What is your coffee order? If I see them holding a takeout coffee. Just send a little comment, something non-threatening that they can respond to quickly. And from my personal experience, most people will respond and they're very kind. I've had positive experiences from many who are warm and instantly made me feel like I belong here. I've made several friends who even live many miles away, but we've gotten to know each other through stories, posts, or DMs. And as an aside, you usually have to have a public profile on IG so that people can message you. But you can immediately block anyone, like random dudes, that make you uncomfortable. But don't let that deter you, because otherwise the people you are going to connect with won't be able to get to you because they won't be able to message you or find you or anything like that. So what if you're now feeling more adventurous and you would like to get out and do fun things, but you don't want to do them alone? You'd feel safer in a group, but you have no idea where to find these new friends, or you may want to do this without any pressure to date. Like, so where exactly do you find these people? Recall the things that you used to enjoy or new things you'd like to try. Pull up Google and then do a search of groups with those interests. And next, just plug those searches also into Facebook and Instagram. I mean, examples of these types of groups are like walking, running, bowling, playing pool, tennis, hiking, poetry, sewing, scrapbooking, pottery, cornhole, book club, sewing. I mean, you get the idea. I've had great personal success actually with meetup.com. You just search meetup groups near you with those interests that we mentioned. I really have many long-term relationships that came out of these meetups. And for me, and it all started, I was out at a bar. I think I may have been out at karaoke. And I met this guy, and he was a friend of mine. And he was there with a meetup group. And I was like, oh, what is that? So he told me what it was. And then they were all actually there playing pool. And I said, oh, that's really cool. And they looked like they were having a really good time. And so that started it. He introduced me to everyone. And since I was freshly single, I was intrigued, like, with the idea of getting out and making those new friends. So what kind of activities did we do? Like, everything. There was kayaking, hiking, bowling, movies, happy hours, karaoke, birthday parties, comedy clubs, holiday celebrations, outdoor concerts during warm events, wineries. I mean, anything and everything. So I had so much fun. I really did. And it really saved me and helped me get back out there. So how it works is you just sign up for what you want, and then what you're available to do. And then you just skip anything you don't want to go to. There are so many events to choose from. The one thing I really liked about Meetup was that you could see online who was going and how many people, etc. And once you make friends within the group, you'll start to feel even more comfortable. And it was great because at the time I had my son part of the time. So it helped that they had so many activities I could choose from on my, single weeks off. Other ideas are you can, go online or even in-person bulletin boards at your local library or college. But if you're thinking, yeah, I'm just not good at being social with people I don't know. I mean, I get you. I'm kind of an introvert myself. So it might help to look up a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And in the event you're not a book person or you just want a cheat sheet, here you go. I'm going to provide it for you. So follow along. Out of the first step, there's 6 principles. And number 1 is, and this is under how to make people like you. Number 1, become genuinely interested in other people. Number 2, smile. Number 3, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Number 4, be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Number 5, talk in terms of the other person's interests. Number 6, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. So using those tips, you'll walk away not having to talk about yourself, and they will like you because you cared enough to just listen. Compliments go a long way. And I've actually been trying this lately because I can come off as standoffish sometimes if I'm in a situation where I don't know many people. I've always admired people like my husband who can talk to anyone, anybody in the grocery store, in line, gas station, just random people anywhere. And I've actually been really lucky to make a lot of friends through him. And that's another tip, really. Just gravitate towards someone like him, and that will take the pressure off you. All you have to do is nod, smile, and listen. And I also have a girlfriend who attracts a lot of attention, and after being around her for years, I figured out that it's not just because she's beautiful, but also because she appears very approachable. She has a big smile, lots of eye contact, and friendly, open body language. And yeah, I was always the one that was more tentative around new people, more aware of what was going on, like to observe and stand back and listen until enough time went by where I warmed up and I felt comfortable approaching people. So don't worry if you're more like me. Any type I've described can easily make friends in these groups. Remember, you're all there because you don't have someone else to do these things with. And you already have that in common. And based on my experience being fresh out of a divorce, that was also another common denominator. Lastly, everyone was new at some point. So trust that there will be people that will approach you versus you having to make the first move. So you might be nodding along to some of these ideas thinking, I think I can do that. If so, let me know how it goes. And also, I've created the next episode as a bonus. One you can send to your friends to help them help you. It will definitely help them to understand you a little better and feel more comfortable in providing the support that you really need right now. Let me know if you find this helpful, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you next time on the X Life podcast. You leave behind your ex life for your next life.